El Clasico, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. Der Klassiker, Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Munich. River Plate versus Boca Juniors. Liverpool versus Manchester United. Guys, some of the greatest rivalry games in football, but none of those games even come close. None of those games even compare in any way, shape, or form to the Old Firm. This is pure passion. This is pure hatred. This is pure intensity. This is everything. This divides a city. This divides a nation. This is the be all and end all. This is not being able to go to work on a Monday morning for fear of the Mickey that will be taken out of you. This is having to be fed up all week as a result of this result. This is a result that can cause you to be fed up until the next one. That's what this means. This means more than anything. The nerves begin as soon as the focus turns to this game. And I'll tell you something, even last night at work, it was on my mind constantly. The fact that we are playing them today at Parkhead, the fact that we have to face them today. Guys, it's time to get the battle fever on. It's time to focus. It's time to take them on. And it's time to finally put them back in their box and bury that box deep where it belongs, well beneath us. It's match day. It's the Old Firm. It doesn't get any bigger. 12:30 at Parkhead. It kicks off. We obviously know the team beforehand, and who knows who's going to play? Nobody knows, because Philippe Clement was doing his typical, keeping it very close to his chest. We're going to talk, obviously, about the build-up to the game today. We're going to talk, obviously, as well, a little bit about the news about Cyril Dessers and his inclusion in the provisional African, in the Nigeria squad, which certainly leaves us in an interesting position going forward. Also about the inclusion of Abdallah Sima in the Senegal squad, a video I dropped earlier. We'll talk a little bit about that and what Philippe Clement has been saying about that. But of course, there is only one place to start today, and that is with the game upcoming, the Old Firm, the biggest rivalry in world football. And I'm not exaggerating that. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Rangers fan. It genuinely is the biggest rivalry in world football. It's bigger than Boca Juniors versus River Plate. It's bigger than Real Madrid Barcelona. It's bigger than Juventus Inter Milan. It's bigger than Dortmund Munich. It's bigger than anything. Paris Saint-Germain Marseille. Ajax versus Feyenoord. Bigger than any of those. Bigger, so big, guys. And I think, I think the world realizes that to some extent. Well, today will be a huge game, and it is a game with so much riding on it. It is a situation where it is Philippe Clement's first ever Old Firm game. It is his first ever test against that lot. It is also a game that could start to define a season. If we were to go there and get a victory today, then it kind of sets down a marker, because with 2 games in hand, we win those 2 games in hand. You know what? We're in a position where we could be taking them on if result goes a certain way today. Obviously, if we lose today, they move 8 points clear of us. We win our 2 games in hand. They're still 2 points clear of us. Not good. A draw obviously would still put us in a position where if we win our 2 games in hand, we go top. Preferably though, beat them, 2 points behind them, win the 2 games in hand, move well clear of them. That would be a much better scenario. Yes, I accept that today is going to be tough due to the number of injuries currently in the squad, although we still don't know who will be available for today's game, because Philippe Clement was being his typical self and playing it very close to his chest. Clement obviously spoke to the media yesterday, ahead of the game today, and was, I think the word is, guarded in what he had to say as regards the game, as regards his team selection. He was also full of it. He also was very demanding of his players, and he talking about the fact that he wanted energy, he wanted enthusiasm from his side as he took charge of his first ever Old Firm game. What else did he have to say? Well, it was all about, for me, again, not giving anything in the slightest to that lot from across our city. It was about keeping his cards very close to his chest. Now, obviously, he was asked about Fabio Silva, and there will be implications in that, obviously, because of the fact that Cyril Dessers has now been selected for the provisional Nigeria squad. He could be included. If he is, that would leave us in a situation with it, as it presents itself with injuries and everything else, as only having Fabio Silva, the loan signing from Wolves, who obviously we don't know what he's going to be like in the Scottish game, has been our only option up front, which is certainly not what we need. And I think we'll certainly press Rangers towards going and signing another striker in this transfer window. Philippe Clement talked a little bit about Fabio Silva in his press conference. He was obviously questioned about him. And he said that Fabio is a versatile player who can play in many positions. With De Neo and Roof out, it will help boost numbers in that position. And he certainly is someone who can play as a 9, he can play as a 10, he can play as a left wing forward, a right wing forward, he can play anywhere along that front three. And he certainly provides very good options for Rangers going forward. Obviously, he's not available for this game. He can't be registered until the 1st of January. Once he is, then he will be able to play against Kilmarnock on the 2nd. Philippe Clement was also asked about the selection of Abdallah Sima for the African Cup of Nations, to which he said, "I'm not happy that he is selected." So obviously Philippe Clement dissatisfied with the fact that he was without one of his players. Now he has said that Abdallah will be available on the 2nd of January against Kilmarnock, and then will travel once that game is done. He said, "Seriously, though, it is always a great honour to play for your country, and we are happy for him. We have had good talks with the Federation, and he will still be available for the 2nd of January before he travels on the 3rd. So that's positive news that he will be available to play against Kilmarnock. Like I've said a long time ago, it was originally that he could have travelled before then. The tournament begins on the 13th. There was a likelihood that he could be pulled away for that Kilmarnock game to link up with the squad. It is now, after conversations with the Senegal Football Federation, that he will not travel to the 3rd, so he is available. And like I've said to you, I was more worried about the Kilmarnock game than the Celtic game because they're in damn good form. It does mean, though, however, that Abdallah Sima will miss Dumbarton, Hibs, St Mirren, Livingston and Aberdeen, as it is highly likely that Senegal will progress from the group stage and probably do quite well in the African Cup of Nations, given the strength of their squad. He was also asked, Philippe Clement, a little bit about the fact that the game was cancelled midweek. Now, some people felt this was beneficial for Rangers because of the fact that it enabled us to give players a little bit of a rest and maybe even bring players back. And we are going to talk about those injured players and what Clement had to say. He said that it was negative that the game was called off. We were all disappointed on our way on the bus. The players always want to play matches. We can't control these decisions. I understand why the game was called off. And I think it is very much about continuing that, that kind of momentum, isn't it? That's what he wanted to see, a continuation of momentum going into this game today against that lot. He says, "I'm happy about Fabio Silva. We can see from his numbers, he's been working hard from the talks he's had. He's ambitious. And he will join us for the training camp in Spain." He was also asked about January and the transfer window. He said, "There is a really clear plan with the board and with everyone in the club. I know everyone is working hard and is super motivated. There is a really good dynamic in this building with people who want to make this club better," which is, again, what we need. We do need a clear vision. We do need a forward momentum. And I think there is one now within the club. Niels Koppen has been brought in as Director of Football Recruitment. It's clear he played a role in the Fabio Silva transfer. Clement is very much forward-thinking and has a clear strategy, which is very positive. Bisgrove, Craig Robertson, all those guys obviously seem to be working to the same hymn sheet. He talked about the fact, he was asked about Connor Goldson, he was asked about John Lundstrom, Ryan Jack, etc., and whether they would be available for the game today. He said it's better to assess our options tomorrow when everything is clear, obviously meaning today, Saturday morning. He talked about the fact that it is a case that he will look at the players today. He will look at those, he was very, uncommittal as to who was trained, who was not trained. He did commit to the fact that Connor Goldson had trained, but didn't commit about whether John Lundstrom had or Ryan Jack had, and whether they would be available for today's game against that lot from across our city. So, it could be that there are a few surprises in the lineup when it is unveiled around about what would be 11:15 this morning that the team will be announced. He re-emphasized again the fact that he said, we are in a marathon of 38 games. We are progressing well. We need to continue this way. I think kind of trying to take the pressure off a little bit, isn't it? The fact that, yes, the Old Firm game carries so much pressure. Of course it does. And if you lose an Old Firm game, it is kind of a real, black mark against your name. But look, Clement needs time. He always talks about one game at a time, and the season been a marathon, not a sprint. He talked about the fact that, he said it is 3 points. Of course, it is a boost at that moment. In 3 days' time, there is another fixture and you still have to perform at the very top level. It is about 3 points, then again, focused on the next 3 points, then the next match. So clear that what he is focusing on solely is the fact that it is one game at a time. It is one week at a time, 1 month at a time. It is not a forward thing. It is not a case of thinking, right, we win against Celtic today, we win the league. That's not how it works. Philippe Clement is clearly focused on the fact that every game, every week is a new challenge, and we have to overcome that challenge to get to our end goal of gaining trophies. Look, it is fascinating today to see who is actually selected, who gets the chance to play today, and will we be at our strongest that we can be given all the injuries. We do know that Carter Vickers will be out for them, which will be a huge blow. Certainly hope that's something that Cyril Dessers can exploit, as it is likely that obviously that Cyril will be up front. Silva's not eligible. Roof is still injured. Danio's still injured, so it is down solely to him. Dessers did speak to the media as well and said he was looking forward to the game in midweek. He had family over for Christmas, so he was hoping they could watch the game. And he said he was obviously disappointed it was cancelled. He said that he liked games like these when everyone is against you. We are looking forward to it. I hope in the future to play with away fans, but as players, we are purely focused on the match. Obviously, with reference to the fact that there are no away fans at Parkhead tomorrow because they decided in their infinite wisdom to go against what the rules say and were not punished for it because the SFA and the SPFL are weak and run by that lot. At the end of the day, we offered them 700 tickets for Ibrox. They turned them down for safety concerns, more like having a paddy strop because they couldn't get what they wanted, which was the whole of the Broom loan, which is just an absolute ridiculous suggestion. Anyway, a Euro allocation of 2,500 is more than enough for that lot. Because they couldn't get what they wanted, they had a strop. They didn't take 700 tickets, and then came out with the pathetic excuse of safety concerns, and then refused to obviously offer tickets back in exchange to Rangers, even though Rangers said they would have taken up those tickets. Clearly, showing that Celtic are one of the most pathetic clubs in world football, like a spoilt toddler who's been told he cannot have the latest toy from the toy shop. So look, today is going to be massive. It is going to be a very intense test for Rangers. It is probably the biggest acid test, as Neil McCann said, of Philippe Clement's reign so far. Yes, going to Seville and beating Betis was a test. Yes, that cup final following on from that game in Seville was a test, especially as obviously the record against Aberdeen this season has been poor. And there's been obviously the allegation levelled against certain members of this squad that they are not up to it when the pressure is on. Again, tomorrow, we are going to see, some of these players who have had allegations leveled against them have been serial bottle jobs and serial losers, having to come through and really show that mentality has changed as we expect it has under Philippe Clement. Now, we don't know that whether some of those players that will play tomorrow, Borna Barisic is, recovering from injury. John Lundstrom also recovering from injury. Connor Goldson recovering from injury. The only one who seems sure to play is James Tavernier. And last time out against Celtic at Parkhead, he did raise his game. He will be anxious to improve his record against Celtic, which is quite poor actually when you actually look at it. I think he's only won two or three games against them. It's quite poor how many games he has actually won against them. Today, for me, we need to show passion. We need to quieten the crowd down. We need to go for 90 minutes. If we go for what we've been doing in the past, what we've been absolutely shocking at the start and only come out to play in the second half, the game could be well over by that point. Yes, this is a poor Celtic team. Yes, this is not the Celtic team of Ange Postecoglou, but they will still take advantage if you give them that chance. It is something we make sure we do not do today. For me, it's got to be a 90-minute performance. It's got to be at them, up and at them from minute one. There's something that Europe shows you. There's something that when Celtic lose games is quite clear. They do not like it when teams go after them. They like it when teams sit back, when teams kind of kowtow to them and kind of fear them in a way, as some of these lower SPFL teams and Aberdeen in particular do on a regular basis. For me, it's got to be up and at them, rag them everywhere from minute one, get stuck in from minute one, never stop fighting from minute one. From minute 1 to minute 90, it has to be intense, 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 intense. No quit, no giving up, no backward step, no retreat. Stand and fight for every inch. Claw for every single inch on that pitch. And that's what we need to do. Show them that we are bang up for this fight and we are going nowhere. This game today, we need a big performance from Todd Cantwell. He will be key to this. I mean, can you imagine the meltdown if he scores in that place? We know how much they hate him, but he is one of the best players in Scottish football in that 10 position. He needs to run the game tomorrow. Abdallah Seema needs a big game. Dessers needs to take his chances when they fall to him. And the defence certainly needs to give a help out there. Fantastic goalkeeper, Jack Butland, by keeping it solid at the back. Look, it is a nerve-wracking day. I've already got the nerves. I already feel a bit sick. Look, this is massive today. And look, I know a draw would be okay. A draw would be fine. And that seems to be the prediction of a lot of the pundits in the media predicting a 1-1. But personally, I want to win today. I want to finally shut them up for a little bit and just show them that we are serious about this title this season and we are not going to go quietly into the night. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below of what Philippe Clement has to say about today's game. We'll be back, obviously, with the breaking team news, and we have the live stream today as well. So come and join us for that. Thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. It is match day. It is a big one. It is the Old Firm. And guys, it is the Old Firm, despite what they may say. Absolutely pathetic, as always. Come on, Rangers. Come on, into them. Let's get into them. Battle fever on, guys. Let's go. And as always, on the way out, 2 things. 1, smash the like. And 2, even more important today, never, ever forget we are the people.